All right, everybody. We're back for February 9th edition of Mishlei. We're almost done. We're almost done with the second verse. We've been at it now for a good long while. We're going to do understanding, finishing the second verse, and then we're hopefully going to go back into the Vilna Gaon commentary, which is kind of what the class is predicated on at some point, and put it all together. And then we're off to chapter 1, verse 3. The cycle begins all over again. I forgot to tell you guys, I went ahead on one of Shabbos a while ago, and I just to see what happens after the second verse, since we've been on the second verse for about 25 years. I urge you guys all to look ahead. It's interesting. You'll see the words. You've already learned all the words from what we've done. And apparently, there's many ways of cutting up Mishlei. One of them is that it's a thing by itself, the first 6 verses. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And if you give it a look, you'll see that you really are already prepared to understand all first 6 verses. So when we go from here, it's going to be a lot of fun because we've done all the hard work. And now you're very well versed in all these concepts. The lazy guy, the wicked guy, the righteous guy, the wise guy, the understanding guy, right? All these things that you're going to be very much capable and competent to navigate with understanding and intention. All right, we've already done the Hebrew of the word understanding. That word in Hebrew, I'm going to type it here, is yavin. Even though it's not in the verse, we understood that. There's that word understanding. It's kind of hard to talk once you get into these concepts, but it's the all-encompassing understanding. That's the general premise. Now we got on. We've already done the Hebrew. We've done it. We've worked it out. Now the goal is to look at it in the English, and we're going to be surprised if all goes according to plan, or we don't plan for this class, but just kind of following the path. We should come out with a revelation, a new understanding of the word understanding. And I try to make the class interactive. When I say give me a 1 or 2, 1 means I'm with you, I got it, I understand. And 2 means I don't understand a word you're talking about. So based on what I just said, give me a 1 or 2. Everybody should try to jump in so I know where we're at all times. All right, good. And if I said that muka haka liki wahahu, give me a 1 or 2 on that. You guys understand that one? Yeah? All right, good. You shouldn't understand it because I don't understand it either. All right, Space Ghost, I hope you're primed and ready. We got to find out now what understanding means, and we don't know. The first rule of thumb is we know nothing. We don't assume we know anything, and we will soon realize that we do know nothing. That is not it's not like I'm on the level to know nothing. The answer really is that when you, and I'm talking to you, whoever you are, when you use the word understanding, I don't understand it the way you do. Okay, so when me and you, I'm talking to you, whoever you are, if you hear me, I'm talking to you. Me and you went out for coffee and bagels yesterday, didn't we? Type 1 or 2. Didn't we go out yesterday, everybody? Yeah? Remember that? When we went out for coffee and bagels? Oliver, you remember that. You and I went for coffee and bagels. Type 1. All right, so we were there, and the waiter came over, and he made like a little joke. Remember that? Remember the joke the waiter made? Like a little, yeah, funny. And you looked at me and you said, don't worry, Rabbi Katz, me and the waiter, we have a nice understanding. Remember that happened? Remember when you said that to me? Now, stop right there. Everybody knows that little phraseology, right? Ha, 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 blah, blah, blah. We have a nice little understanding, a trite little meeting over coffee and bagels, whatever it is. In all of your lives, you know this situation, right? Everyone's been there, done that. We all know it, 1 or 2. The guy that looked at you and said, me and this ex-stranger have a little understanding, a nice little understanding. Do you really know what they meant? What does that mean? We have a little understanding. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean by that? Right. Does that mean I can joke back? Does that mean the guy's a nebuch and he's going to spill the plate? Does that mean you're going to be complaining about the bill afterwards? I mean, at the end of our date on lunch, we're going to find out what you meant. Because then we're going to drive back to the office and you're like, oh yeah, that guy, Bob, the waiter, yeah, he was a real weirdo and blah, blah, blah. And oh, that's what he meant by we have a little understanding. Or you could say he was from the Philippines and my wife is from the Philippines and he made a Filipino inside joke and I understood it. We have a little understanding. Right? I mean, who knows? And it could be the guy was a Gerer Chassid and he looks different than a Belzer Chassid. Okay? And the Gerer Chassidim have little jokes that the Belzer Chassidim don't have. By the way, in Israel, that's a true story. You guys probably think when you see black and white on a Jew, they're all the same, right? One or two. For all intents and purposes. And the fact is, you can tell the Chassidim by their hat, by their socks, by their shoes, by their accent, by the books. It's easy. But if you don't know the code, you don't know the code. Right? And so if me and imagine this. Now let's bring the details of the story. Me and Travis went for lunch yesterday. Remember that, Travis? And there was from a foggy point of view, it was a Jewish waiter. Remember that? Remember it was a Jewish waiter? And I'm there speaking yeshivish with him. And I made a joke. I made fun of the guy. I can be a little bit nasty sometimes. And I said, "You call that a hat?" And Travis, you were embarrassed. You're like, "Wow, you called him out on the hat. Wow, that's pretty gutsy of you." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Don't worry. The Gerer Hasidim are very particular about their hats. It's a thing by them." So when the waiter said, "Yeah, it is a new Borsalino," whatever, whatever it is. But if you're not in the inside joke, you wouldn't get it. Right? Now, if it was a Belzer, I might say, "You call those socks?" They wear what they call the knickers, right? So if you're not there, you wouldn't get it. So I say, "Don't worry, he understands me. He's a Gerer Chassid." What do you mean? What do you mean he understands you? I don't know what you mean by that. So that little fractal, just get your head on that concept, right? Understanding, understood, to understand, What does anybody mean? I told him I don't want pickles on my sandwich. Did he understand what I meant? Don't worry. He understood. How do you know he understood? He spoke Yiddish, not even in English. I said, because he's Hamish. He understands. Right? So any ethnic encounter or foreign encounter or strange encounter requires or is going to have these little things. Now, 90% of it you're going to understand anyways, right? Me and you went out to Burger King. Remember that? We went to Burger King, and it was a kosher one in Israel, and I ordered a Coke, and the girl said, "You probably want a biggie size, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, we have a good understanding, me and you." Right? So, okay, there's probably not a big surprise in what we were talking about. She understands. Guy, orders a Whopper in Jerusalem and the biggie size. The point is, it's probably not a big surprise and deep wisdom that I said that she understood me. But that's a fallacy also and a lie, right? Because even though 90% of that little totally vague and ambiguous social exchange, we understood each other, right? Chances are, did I really understand her point of view? What do you think? Did I really, in the kishkas, get what she was saying? I mean, really, understand her. Okay, socially, ha, bigger kind of guy, getting lunch, ha, you probably want a biggie size. I don't know what motivated her. She could have said something else. Do you want the discount? Do you want, You want 2 fries? What do you want? For example, when I do name reads on people get their names done. Exactly. That's what I was thinking, Eric. She's thinking about the raise she's going to get for upselling. Has nothing to do with the fact that you want a Biggie Coke. When I do names, a lot of times the names come out sounding kind of stupid. Meaning you say to a guy like, oh, Eric Bryan, your name means faithful and smart and funny and talented and really, really special and really, really funny and it's like I hear myself saying it. It's like these people think it's a gimmick, but I'm dumbing it down. Obviously, this isn't how it is. But you hear my point. If I told Eric Bryan on a name that he gets done, 15 attributes. I want you guys to type right now 15 attributes. Let's go. Everyone type a nice attribute until we get 15. Go ahead. Nice, funny. Go ahead. Just type it until we get 15 of them. Go ahead. I want to see 15 words pop up here. All right, there you go. Eric's lovely. He's a lovely guy. Keep going. Stop at 15. All right, there you go. Done. Okay, Eric Bryan, did you know you were those things? Stop. Everybody stop. Eric, did you know you were that? I know you're charismatic. I don't know how everyone else knows you're charismatic. So that's Eric Bryan. Give me 1 or 2 in our little fictitious account here. Everyone, 1 or 2. You guys know Eric? Now, can someone think of another word that is not in that list? Is it possible that there's a word not in that list? Yeah? Okay. So imagine how many words exist in the universe. If I tell you, Eric Bryan, you're gentle and studious and cordial, okay, that's great. How come I didn't say strong? No one called him strong. How could you guys not call Eric strong? Aggressive. Right? Why isn't he strong? Just 2 seconds ago, you said it was blah and cliche, didn't you? He's nice and he's funny and he's special, but you didn't say he's protective, strong, and aggressive. Why not? So we'll do another name read. This one will be for Travis, and Travis is strong and aggressive and protective, but he's not kind, special, or funny. So the point is, we all have attributes. And I used to get involved in the Enneagram when I was first returning to Torah Judaism, right? Like 9 personality types. And I loved it because it was the first thing I ever got into. And when I got to yeshiva, I realized where these limited systems are flawed. Ready for this? Ready for this little enlightening little thing? In yeshiva, it's a special place because in Torah, everything goes. Right? In Torah, is it conceivable you could talk about a fight in the Talmud? How about war? How about really risque matters? Rape, abuse, murder, killing, making bagels, whatever it is. The Talmud has no holds barred. And it's a bit awkward when you're there with the rabbi in class and it's like, it can get really, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? And everybody just kind of, understands it's a risque situation and you don't make a joke out of it. You just get through it, right? Because the Talmud is a bit funny sometimes. And a lot of the anti-Semites make it into a really funny thing. But it's taken out of context when that happens. But in the scope of a class, you just mature up and you deal with the topic and get through it, right? With that said, you can imagine how many emotions come out, right? I can actually tell you guys a funny story after the class, but of how Daf Yomi's reading on a page of Talmud a day. But you can imagine how every emotion comes out, right? The Torah deals with slavery and rape, for example, right? You can imagine if someone is against slavery, from a secular point of view, they're going to argue, how is God just and righteous to make a Torah that has slavery in it, correct? We can all fathom this debate. Now, we know that debate is usually taken out of context, and if you understand the Torah deeply, you'll realize what it means. And that's what happens. The rabbi giving the class has to subordinate the uprising with the true logic and wisdom of the Torah against someone saying, how dare you shackle and chain good devotees to Judaism? It has nothing to do with shackles and chains. Point being, when I one time in yeshiva, I took an Enneagram test just for fun to see what would happen, right? And they want to peg you from numbers 1 through 9. Am I a 1, a 2, a 3, right? So I took the test, and it was very funny. All right, so give me a 1 or 2 on these questions based on a rabbi in yeshiva personality. Okay, is it conceivable I could be nice? Can I check 1 out of the test? He's a nice guy. Okay. How about funny? Aggressive? Argumentative? Combatant? Rude? Extreme? Delightful? Soft? Right? And this is the joke of it. In Torah Yeshiva, you can sit across from a guy and say, you're the dumbest guy I ever met in my life. How could you say Rashi says that? How can you claim that Rashi says like Taisus? Do you have a brain in your head? Oh, I was looking at the wrong page. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong page. I'm sorry about that. All right, so let's get back to you're right. Rashi did say that. Right, Rashi says like Tosfos. All right, you see those, and Yeshiva, and it's okay. It's just a different world. Therefore, in the scope of this, is it conceivable every one of you has every trait in the world? Can I say that someone in this class is incapable of being nice? One of you is incapable. You're just a rude, flawed person. Is that possible? It's not possible. But on a personality exam, it might not be your most revealed trait, right? I mean, Eric Bryan, maybe can get feisty in a forum. Would I say he's a feisty, nasty guy and stay away from him? No. But if you're going to tell him false Torah and say you're wrong, you should go back home, and who are you to speak here? Yeah, he'll tell you how he feels. So if you don't want to know how he feels, don't ask him. But is that his first trait that he's going to come out and punch you? No. Is he capable if the truth needs defended? Yeah. Yeshiva deals with that. Now, my point is this. And when I do a name, if I give you 15 traits, does that mean you're incapable of other things? No. The 15 means that in your name mazel, this is just what's there. Right? It's what's like 1A 15 times. It doesn't mean there's no 1B. It doesn't mean that you're this or that. Right. Okay. With that said, see if I can bring the bunny trail back, rabbit trail back, right? When there are words that are applicable to you and that you are used to. You speak a certain way, you understand certain things. We don't speak your language. Right? So everybody knows what understanding means. Yeah. So we don't know what you mean. We all know the same words. Right? You have to get to know each other. We all know the same words. We can talk. You say, hey, we have a little understanding. I believe you. Okay. But I don't know how you use it. I just don't know how you particularly use that word. Not like me. And we have to get to know each other to find out how we share in common that word. And this is what I call moron man. Okay? We all just kind of go through life, and I say to Eric, hey, Eric, me and the waiter have a nice understanding. Ha, ha, ha. He never even heard what I said. He didn't internalize it. He's not going to be embarrassed enough to say, what did you mean by you had an understanding with that guy? So we're not going to talk about it. He's going to give a little, ha, yeah. And I'm going to give a, ha, yeah, back. It never gets spoken about. And until something blows up from it, it never got comprehended. We never realized that at Burger King, the girl was upselling the Biggie Fry. right? We never got to the truth. We never realized the truth. And it doesn't matter. Maybe, maybe not. But when someone addresses you and you have to know, then it's going to be a point of misunderstanding. I'll tell you a little story, and then we're going to get into the class, right? Into the real class. I was married. Everyone knows my wife passed on, but anyways. And she was pregnant with Reuven. And really pregnant. I mean, it was ready to happen, the birth. I think we were about a couple weeks away. And we were, young, freshly married, living in a part of town that, look, a young couple is affordable. It wasn't the best place to live. It wasn't dangerous. Just she wasn't happy there, and I wasn't happy there either. And I was glad that when we moved out of there. Now, she was Israeli, Sephardi, Moroccan. And I am certainly not an Israeli, nor am I Sephardi or Moroccan. I am American Ashkenazi. Different world altogether. So she spoke English, but not as a mother tongue. And she said, I really don't want to have kids in this house. Or a family or whatever. I don't remember the exact language, but I said, "What do you mean you don't have kids here? We're having kids in this house like next week." So we got in a little bit of an argument that day because in English, if you say, at least in the Midwest, I don't know about the other parts of America, but one kid would say kids. If you say, "Hey, Travis, you got any kids?" "Yeah, I got one kid." Right? You can say it like that. "Hey, do you have kids?" "Yeah, I have one kid." But even kid single can become plural in kind of a jargon street talk. So I said, we're having kids. She thought I meant literally, like we are having like many, many kids in this house. And she didn't understand that where I come from, you can refer to kid as kids. Another story is a friend of mine married a British woman, and he was American. And on their wedding night, it was all romantic. And he looks at her, eye to eye, and he says, "I so lucked out when I married you." And they almost got divorced that night, right? Because in England, that's not what you say to somebody. That means of all the great women I could have had, I ended up with you. But in American, it's like, man, of all chances of luck, God blessed me with you. So you can imagine what we assume we understand, but we don't, right? Didn't understand. And most of the time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter usually, right? When we go out in social affairs, it generally is not going to bite you. But when it does matter, you're going to fail. Because I don't speak you, and you don't speak me, right? Even though we all know the same words. The way you use the word, if I use the word understanding all the time, it's one of my 15 words. And it's not one of your words. Right? It's not one of your 15 words of you. Therefore, you're not going to understand how I use it. And the famous attack on ger. What's the famous attack? Go to Israel and ask anybody what a ger is. What do they say the answer is going to be back? Go to Israel. What's a ger? Convert. Right? And they say, "Oh, so you see, it's confusing." And we're saying, okay, not everybody knows how to properly translate the word ger. Does that mean we're exempt from learning and being awake? And do we have permission to be what's called moron man? Just kind of gliding through life and just, and, "Oh, yeah, your friend's a ger. Oh, that's nice. What's on TV?" No, there's no excuse for that, right? It's no excuse, and I'm just not gonna ever cave in on that because you call these people Noahides. Does that make you feel better? And Gerim are converts. Let's see if you understand when we go to Burger King what the girl says, "Biggie, blah blah blah." Let's see if you understand that. Let's see if you understand anything in this world. You understand nothing. You understand it as you see it, which is fine most of the time, but in reality, we don't understand each other. We don't understand anything. You understand how you do it. And that's great for you, but I'm not you. Okay, with that introduction, not understanding is a merit. It's a blessing, right? It's not to be looked at as, wow, he says we don't know anything, right? We're all moron man. Embrace it. Love the fog. Embrace the fog. It's always foggy. Right now, did you all sense it just got real foggy after I transitioned? I always do this every week, right? We started with our examples, and now we went back to Mishlei Proverbs, and it's foggy. We don't know what we're doing. No idea. No clue. All I know is it's understanding, and I've successfully taught and gave over that we probably have no idea what understanding means, right? One or two. But yet, you all know in your own brain, yeah, I think you're secretly challenging, saying, I think, Rabbi Katz, I think I do know what it means. You want to bet on that? This is where we're at. Do you want to bet on that? And it really does come down to that. It's like, right now, everybody probably thinks, one or two, that you admit the truth. Do you think you understand what the word understanding means? Go ahead. That means if you type 1, you're practically on the level of Webster, right? Webster's dictionary, Merriam-Webster, right? You practically know the lexicology behind it, and you know every nuance of the etymology. You're probably good to go. Or is there a chance that you're going to learn something new when you walk out of here tonight? Which one do you think? Is there a chance you can learn something new? So then you don't know what it means. You're not an expert. You're saying you're not an expert. Is that what you're saying? 1 or 2. So then now tomorrow's going to happen. Imagine tomorrow, and your friend said, hey, you and I need to have a new understanding of something. And you're going to say, oh, I know what that means, right? 1 or 2. Oh, yeah, I understand, 100%. But in reality, do you know what your friend is saying? Do you have any idea what your friend is saying? But then you can't be awkward about it and say, hey, I was in Rabbi Katz's Mishlei class last night. I don't understand a word you're saying. Can you explain every word you say from now on? All right, you can't do that either. So it has to be that, number 1, you understand the truth. And the truth is, I don't know what's going on, and I want to know what's going on, and God willing, we'll know what's going on. That's called going from moron man to enlightened man, or whatever words you want to use. How do you get there? Isn't that the question? Okay, I admit I don't understand much. But I do admit I want to understand as much as I can. 1 or 2. And I admit it's awkward to say to somebody, hey, I don't understand a word you're saying, but I'd love to. Okay, so now the task of this class is articulation. How do you redeem the truth? How do you make it not awkward? How do you have a conversation? How do you communicate? When a guy says, hey, we need to get a better understanding, me and you, how do you work in there and say, I'm with you? What do you mean? Where are we going? I mean, what your style, your mazel, your words, your definitions, your everything, going from fog to clarity and dialogue, communication. How do you do it? Because basically we all understand each other and we all don't at the exact same time. You understand every meaning of understanding, but it's infinite in your brain and you have a hard time getting it to boil to the surface. You need a bit of a revelation from God. It's okay. It's okay to say you need God to put in your head. This is how you learn to work with God. God will put it in your head. You rely on wisdom, knowledge, mazel, God, to know wisdom and instruction, to discern the words of understanding. You might have to get punched in order to understand, or fired from a job, or whatever it is. That's up to you. However much you resist the truth, God will work with you. If you want the least resistance, you need to let God penetrate your mind and body and being. And that's what King Solomon stands for. Let's go. Space Ghost. I'm going to bring up a link here in a second. Let's see here. We're in Hebrew text. That's not going to help us any, is it? Merriam understanding. Here we go. And copy and paste and There we go. Here's your link. Be quick on the browser. We're going to go a lot of different places inside the website whenever we can click through for additional information. So don't close anything in your browser. Keep everything open. Go through the links. Space Ghost, let's go. We are concluding this week, hopefully. We'll see what happens. We want to understand, what does the word understanding mean? Go ahead.
The knowledge and ability to judge a particular situation or object.
Subject. Or subject.
Subject, sorry.
All right, stop there. Now, you guys, what are you feeling right now? I want to see if we're all on the same page. Be honest, admit the truth. What do you – why? Anybody disagree with Travis? Can anybody actually say they understood what Brian just read? Can anybody honestly claim that they understood that? Don't be shy. If you think you did, say one. I want to hear it. Did anybody get that? Oliver, you got it? What did you get? You really feel you comprehended it? It was clear? Or would you need to look over it again to kind of get into it? Any thoughts? It was so terse to me. That's it. It was so terse. Was the word terse? Did you guys feel that it was terse? Right? So it's like, what? It's it. It was like, I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. But Eric, Brian will tell you we have pause buttons and rewind and fast forward, and we are going to go in there and get in and jump in and figure out what it meant. Ready? Guys ready to jump in? Here we go. Let's see here. Now, we got to figure out what this means. Okay. This is the knowledge. That's already heavy. Now look at our meme. Look at our meme. To know wisdom and instruction. So there's already knowledge here. Right? Once you've done 1-2, Proverbs 1-2, you probably have knowledge by now, right? You went to the seminar 50 times to learn how to change a tire. Okay? You went through More on Man and you got the wisdom, blah, blah, blah. Do you now have knowledge? What a jack is, what a wrench is, what a spare tire is. You guys with it? 1 or 2? All right. Even though it's boring. I know it's boring. It's changing a tire. It's probably not that exciting. But you have knowledge, right? In Smallville land, you have to go through 50 courses of how to change a tire before you're allowed to drive on the highway. Remember that? Remember we all went there? And you learned all about it. You took the test, and you have knowledge. Agreed? 1 or 2? Do you have knowledge? We're going to stick to this whole story, right? Okay, so you have knowledge. The knowledge. And now are you with me on the Merriam-Webster page? It's saying you have the knowledge. So we got the knowledge. Let's go with that understanding. The knowledge and ability. Do you know how to change a tire? 1 or 2? You did the 50 courses? You know what a jack is? You know how to work it and get it, do what you need to do, right? You guys, knowledge to the point of ability. You with it? I know it's foggy. We're building it up. Don't worry. Everybody that's been here before, give support to everybody new that we will prevail. We will get through this. The knowledge and ability to judge. Okay, you have a flat tire. Do you feel good? You know where the jack is? Everybody? You know where it's at? In the trunk? All right. And you feel confident, or do you have to call the guys with the number? You feel okay? And you can judge it? Can you understand, this is the wrench has got to be 4/8. It's got to be this. It's got to be the right size, to undo the bolts. You guys okay with this? You feel enabled? It's a theoretical thing, but you feel enabled. Okay, we're not totally helpless here. Good. The knowledge and ability to judge a particular situation or subject. Now it came clear. Did you guys get that? You basically are saying you understand how to change a tire. 1 or 2. So you got a flat tire and you called your spouse at home. Remember that? Remember you called your spouse? And you said, I am going to be a half an hour late. I got a flat tire. And your spouse said, do you remember, don't panic. Remember the 50 classes? Remember that? Remember that conversation? And you responded, yeah, I remember. Then your spouse says the magic question. Okay, do you understand? Now, based on our definition, is that the right word? You understand what it means? Right? He says, he or she says, do you understand? Therefore, what's implicit is, do you still retain the knowledge, thereby enabling you with an ability to be able to perceive and see clearly enough to judge the situation, the extent of the damage of this particular accident of the tire in this place and time? Are you okay? Are you okay is a nice way of saying, do you understand? Based on the fact that you succeeded in 50 classes, what would your answer be, 1 or 2? How so, Travis? It's too psychoanalytical. We're keeping this simple. We're not going deep yet. Not yet. I get you. Travis is good. That's right. First step of understanding is understand I have no idea what I'm doing. That's right. First you have to, because that's it. You have to embrace the reality of I'm going to be late. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's put it together. Okay. Now, let's make a lateral move, okay? Everybody think of a new skill that you have learned recently, whether it is how to use a new app for your phone, how to use Windows 10, how to blank, how to make a new cup of coffee in the new coffee maker. All right, type 2 if this does not apply to you within the last year. Does everybody have this moment that you've had to incorporate in your mind something new? Give me 1 or 2 here. Everybody good? Okay. Now, can you understand why, if assuming that you have chosen something that you have comprehended, you've succeeded, you have made your cup of coffee, you now use Windows 10, right? Success. Is everybody successful in their thing that they did? 1 or 2. Travis thinking of something a little than a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, with that success, you now know how to use Windows 10. You now know how to use WhatsApp. Okay? All these things. Pick one that you've succeeded in. Can you understand why you have an understanding? Success equals understanding. That's right. You're empowered. You can get through it. The rigor. Everybody good? So everybody here has been successful, and the success came because you embraced the fog. You woke up out of Moron Man, and you have a proper understanding. 1 or 2. So therefore, this should be able to withstand the test that we're going to put it through. Let's filter it through our meme. Ready? Proverbs 1:2. To know wisdom and instruction. To discern, like you're coming through the fog, we said the words, right? Like the words, the keys of understanding. But here's the thing. We said of understanding. We said of understanding is a type of understanding. Of understanding. Words of understanding. Now it's getting complex. 1 second. The words, to discern the words of understanding. Wow, this is great. We're one step away. You feel the challenge? That's right. In this class, that's generally how it happens. That's generally how you do it. That's how, because the wisdom doesn't fit the English language. English language spoken and wisdom is a different world, right? It's based on the Hebrew. The Hebrew is just a different animal. To know wisdom and instruction, to discern the words of understanding. Now, I got to step back for a second and meditate here. Everyone that was here last week, remember how we understood of understanding. Now, we understood of, okay? We understood there was a thing called understanding. We didn't know what it was, but it was of understanding. Remember we said like pinky swear. Travis, do you swear? Say one or two. Say one. Do you really swear? Travis, do you pinky swear? Okay. You understand that analogy here? There's understanding. Everyone give me one or two. And then there's something elevated and more specific called of understanding. The of describes the type of understanding. It's very abstract. I'm aware of that. The Hebrew goes there. The surprise is, and this is the surprise, when you guys speak, the wisdom is there and you're unaware of it. How much do you want to bet? You guys want to bet on this? Somebody take the mic and have a conversation with me. Let's do it. Let's see if it happens. But it's got to be real. Anybody want to go on the microphone? All right, Travis does it. Travis, either you ask me how my coffee was today or I'll ask you. What do you want to do?
Rabbi Katz, how was your coffee today?
My coffee was, it was all right. It was the usual 2-capsule, made to the general level of satisfaction. What do you call it? I forget what the Nespresso machine on the level that I make it at.
Oh, okay, I understand.
All right, so stop right there. Travis said, "Oh, okay, I understand." Let's type that out. Let's type that. Ready? Oh, okay, I understand. See that? Everyone see it? Oh, okay, I understand. Now don't type anymore. Stop typing. I want it to stay on the screen. All right, stop typing. Stop typing. Everyone see what Travis said. I gave a little story, maybe you heard the mazel of my words. I couldn't hear it because I was talking. But when I was finished talking, Travis responds with, "Oh, okay, I understand." What does that mean, Travis? Wait. Don't, hold on. Don't type. I wanted to keep it on the screen. Hold on. Oh. Yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, good. So, Travis, let's break it down. Ready? Why did you say oh?
It's like a moment of synapsis, and the synapsis.
But what does it mean? Why would you say that?
Authentically, it was kind of a moment of pretension.
But in the wisdom, what do you think your soul was trying to tell me? I told you my coffee is great, and then Travis took the social cue, which we said was a command from the words. He took the command and responded with, "Oh, okay, I understand." What does that mean?
Well,
Why oh?
I'm trying to let you know.
Let me think for 1 second. This is a good question. Oh. Okay. Now this is what I'm going to say the mazel is. Ready for this? This is how crazy it gets. Ready? Can you spell okay for me, please? Or try to say it. How do you spell okay?
How do I spell okay?
Yeah.
O-W-K-A-Y.
No, it's okay. O and K.
Okay.
You can make a case that when you said O, it was actually a stutter, you were saying, oh, okay.
Okay,
Follow?
I do.
The letter O. You said the letter O, then you said okay, then you said I understand.
All right.
The point is, what does anybody mean when they say "oh"? Oh, okay. It was like you said. It was a stutter. And it could be. It's not only that. It could be a lot of things. This is beyond comprehension of what you meant to say. You responded. It was so fast you couldn't think what not to say.
Right. It's wisdom.
That's it. It was wisdom. So what you wanted to say was okay, but it came. You couldn't hold it back, and you had to say something.
Well,
And look, the mazel was you were going to say okay after you said something.
and what
So what you did was you really were just wanted to say okay.
and what I wanted to do was give you the impression that I'm on your team.
Exactly. But it was socially awkward for you just to jump out and just say okay. So you softened the blow and you said, oh, okay.
Right.
Then you proceeded with I understand. Right? This is what we were saying in the last couple of classes. You can't just come out and say affirmative. Affirmative. There has to be dialogue. The point is, when we speak, there's wisdom in the words. Now, I might be wrong on what Travis meant by okay. Right? We're taking it on an analytical academic level. Right? It's mashma to me in Hebrew. You say it's clear to me that that O-H, here I'll just spell it, O-H equals O. So O-H, okay. As if to say, with God's name, we say Yud, Yud-K, Yud-K Vav, Yud-K Vav-K. Right? The Hebrew wisdom shows how the mind works. It's Hebrew wisdom. People speak in Hebrew, they don't realize it. Right? Travis's mind was hardwired to the Hebrew, and I made him respond in a way that was beyond thought. He couldn't have thought what to do. It's not like he sat there and he's so good. He's like, I'm going to trick Rabbi Katz here, and I'm going to respond to his little coffee inquiry the following way. Oh, okay. I understand. Right? That's not what happened. It's just not what happened. He could not control it. So number one, was Travis's statement true or false? Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, it had to be true. Had to be true. Because he was not fast enough to manipulate it. Even through these little words. Now, in King David's Psalms, this is where this concept comes from. We are in the world of nature. There's another world called Yitzchak. It's an angelic world. And what that world does is it highlights our world. Yitzchak with a shin. Language schok, to play, like sporting with the Leviathan. And what that it's a parallel universe to our world. It's only angelic. And what it is that when we speak, how many of you ever heard of the book Sefer Yetzirah? Book of Creation. That's what that book's about. Everything you say has angelic prophecy coming through. The Shekhinah is in all of your mouths. But it's so perfectly godly, we don't recognize it. When Travis says, oh, okay, I'm supposed to say, that Travis, right? The bottom line is everything we say, there's wisdom, infinite wisdom packed in there. Now, it's mostly klippa, meaning it's mundane and hard to find the holiness. If we were speaking Lashon HaKodesh, holy tongue, right, and in Hebrew, then you can start to make like gematria calculations. That's already Moshe Rabbeinu's wisdom in prophecy. That's what the Torah is, the 5 books of Moses. It's so holy. In the pure Hebrew, you can make conclusions rabbinically. You understand? The more we speak, it's less holy, more mundane, but you can make conclusions of inflection and intention. I don't know what sphere and Atzilus Travis came from. Okay, granted that. But he spoke from the angelic kingdom because he had no control. It just came out. He wanted to say, I'm affirmative, I understand. But who told Travis to say, oh? Why would you say, oh? Who asked you to say, oh? Just say affirmative. Just say what you mean. I understand. Why say, oh, okay? Why just say, okay? Why, oh? You can now imagine how deep this goes. Everything we say can be scrutinized, not to the point of criminal attack, right? To incriminate somebody. But the point is there's meaning everywhere and in everything. That's the point. Is Travis meant something. Now, does it really matter what he meant? No. It's talking about a cup of coffee. It doesn't matter. That's where it gets socially awkward. Travis, what did you mean when you said, oh? All right, we don't have to go there. But it doesn't mean it didn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that it was empty. And when he really does mean something, right, all the more so, what you say in Hebrew, kol shekain, all the more so, there's meaning there. If I said, Travis, what did you think about the meme I put on Facebook last week? And he would say, oh, I don't know, Rev Katz, it was kind of spooky, really. Don't you think I have the right to say, what do you mean by spooky? That can go a million ways. What do you mean spooky? Who says a meme is spooky? Why would you call it spooky? I have every right to say, what did you mean by spooky? Oh, it was spooky because we were just talking about that the other day, and then it came up, and then it's like, bam, right there, you answered the question. Oh, yeah, that was spooky, right? But how would I know that if I didn't ask him? And it's my choice. I don't have to ask, or I can ask. I could have just said, okay, and then I talked to somebody else. Hey, what did Travis say? Oh, yeah, he said the meme was spooky. That person now has free will. What do they mean by spooky? Next thing you know, people are saying, all these Gare people, their memes are spooky. What do you mean? This is how things get spread around the internet, copy and pasting, and it just goes. It's like viral. It's a viral nature. So this is where you get cliche. It's where you get metaphor. What's that? So, with that said, you understand now the power of speech and how there's divine quality and holiness literally in everything spoken. 1 or 2. It's everywhere. You cannot avoid it. It's not worth breaking your head over, right? You really don't need to grill people over what O means. It doesn't matter. Things reiterate. There's a reiteration product of the world, right? If there's something you need to catch, this is the secret why I can go on rabbit trails. You know how you get through a rabbit trail? You let it reiterate to the point that you get back on track. It's how consciousness works. You will never go off track. If you just keep going, it will reiterate. That's why when you say, oh, I lost my train of thought, guess what happens once you start talking again? You remembered what you were going to say. It's a role of consciousness. You're going to remember. If not tomorrow, in 20 years from now, you'll say, I remember I was going to say that one time. That's it. Okay. With that said, we now understand the word understanding. It's a level of comprehension, of success rate that you have basically done everything. Right? You are uninitiated, you are moron man, you are brand new, and at the end, you are competent, and successful to accomplish the original premise that moron man was unaware of? One or two? So according to English, it sounds like you want understanding. But the question is, no, before I say what I'm about to say, what did I just do? Why did I say but? What was I doing? Can anybody guess or have foresight what I was going to do? I gave a complete thought. I stopped and said but after I defined the word understanding. Where am I going? Anybody? Eric's smelling it. Good. What's the task at hand? Can anybody remember? You're getting there. You guys are, you're on it. You guys are making me happy. Making me proud. You're making me proud. The task at hand is, what is understanding vis-a-vis this thing called of understanding? One or two. But that was the rabbit trail that came full circle, right? We still have to understand Solomon. There's understanding. Okay, we got that. But then there's of understanding. Let's call it a higher level of understanding. Agreed? Something out there of a higher understanding. That's what it looks like. Let's go with the definitions. Are you with me? One or two? That's what it seems like. It's implicit that Solomon wants supreme understanding. Brian, let's go. Next definition. Let's see if we can find this higher level.
An informal agreement.
Okay, an informal agreement. That's what I was saying about the waiter. That's where I knew that from. The word covenant actually means understanding. To know wisdom and instruction, to discern the words of understanding. Wow, I'm seeing this now. I think we're getting it. Keep going. Keep going.
A willingness to understand people's behavior and forgive them.
So that's it. It's a father for a son, right? The kid trips and falls. The father probably doesn't laugh at the kid, right? Father probably is not going to laugh at his son. One or two. Why? Because he understands. The kid's 3 years old. 3-year-old kids fall down. It's not funny, right? You don't make fun of a 3-year-old kid for falling down. But I have understanding, you would say, right? The kid's like, why'd you let me fall? And the dad's like, it's okay, Tiger. You're all right. Because you have understanding. And look at the analogy, right? The 3-year-old is a pathetic human being compared to a 30-year-old father. The dad is like Superman. He knows everything, right? I know with my son Reuven, he thinks I'm like the coolest, awesome. Abba just knows it all, right? He's completely clueless. As he's like amazed by simple things, It's like he's like, Abba, flex your muscles, and I'm like, Arr! He's like, whoa, you're practically Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. But the thing is that he doesn't even understand how a person would get muscles, right? I'm not hardly muscular, right? But he has no idea how at 7 years old he's going to one day look like he's going to look like, right? Isn't that what he's struggling with? He doesn't even know what tomorrow has, and he's like, I got this problem. If he could articulate, this is what Reuven would be saying. Look, man, I'm 7 years old. I got this problem. I feel strong. I feel good. I got a pretty good life. But there's just like things I want to do. I really want to be able to get the cookies on the top shelf in the kitchen. But I got this problem that I just can't climb high enough because it's too high, and I got to do a trapeze act to get it. And I might fall and crack my head open, or my dad will kill me. Dad can do it, though. Abba can do it. Abba's pretty cool. Abba's want to put it up there. I mean, he has no problem. Abba's like just puts it up there, and Abba's awesome. I wish I could get the cookies. Abba eats the cookies, and it's like not a problem for him. You see how he cannot fathom why I have no problem with this. Because he cannot figure out how it's going to happen. You understand? He has no idea how he's going to get those cookies. And if I told him the answer, Ruby Doob, you're going to have to wait about 4 or 5 years before you can do it. How would you guys feel if you know there's a whatever it is you want? I said, look, you can get it. It's going to be 5 years, but you got to sign up now. Sign up now, and in 5 years you'll get it. So what about the guy that has it? Or how about this? Season tickets to the Chicago Bulls in 1996. Remember this whole story when the Bulls were selling out stadiums and Michael's there? And it's like, yeah, the waiting list for season tickets is like 100 years. And the guy, imagine the guy that had those tickets. Hey, Phil, where are you going on Thursday? Oh, you know, I've been a season ticket holder since 1982. So I'm going to go to the Bulls game. You know, I got good seats. It's pretty good to be me. What can I tell you? That guy's got the understanding. I know what it's like to see Michael Jordan dunk from the free throw line because I was there. Imagine that. Just for a little analogy, right? I was there. I know it. It's simple. It's great. I love it. It's cool. It's awesome to be me. The other guy's like, I'm watching at home, and I got to work on Thursday night. Why does Phil have everything and I have nothing? But Phil's like, yeah, in 5 years you can get on the waiting list. After like 5 years after Jordan retired. Okay, therefore, willingness to understand people's behavior and forgive them. When you are superior in the thing, or how about this? Now I'm going to give you a real case analogy. Ready? You work for Microsoft 24 hours, 24/7 hotline. And people are calling like, help, the file button won't work. Now, you know, and you're like, okay, did you click on file, ma'am? She's like, yes, I clicked on it 100 times. It must be my version of Windows doesn't work. What are the chances of her Windows not working? Anybody? That's right. So you're like, okay. And you know, you already know what it is. You know, right? You say, oh, well, let me help you out. Would you happen to be clicking on the file of your Chrome browser? Well, isn't that where file is? Yeah, it is. That's wonderful that you saw that. But Windows actually uses its own software, and it's not exactly always connected to the browser. So if you just go in your Windows and click on File, I think it'll open up right away. Oh, look at that. Silly me, I was clicking on the wrong one. Did she have understanding? One or two. Was this customer shtickle moron man mode? Whether it's male, female, doesn't matter. Just shtickle moron man mode. And the worker for Microsoft is like supremely intelligent being. Not a problem. Not a problem. That person had understanding. That's the higher. I'm going to call this level of understanding lockdown understanding. Lockdown. Right? Go ahead and argue Gare with me. I dare you. That's called lockdown understanding. There are those that say, yeah, I understand Gare convert. Really? You want to go there? Tell me about the Rashba. You don't want to go there. So I think that's what I think. I'm not convinced yet. I think that's where Solomon's going to go. Brian, let's go. Let's see if it's good. Let's see where this is consistent. Go ahead.
Full definition. 1, a mental grasp, comprehension.
All right. Now, a mental grasp. You're either fluent or you're not. You guys seeing this? This is pretty good. You seeing it now? You're either I live in Israel for 15 years. Okay? I don't speak Hebrew. Now, I'm okay. I get by. I can pay my bills. But A lot of times my mother, who made Aliyah, will say, can you go ask that guy, blah, blah, blah? I'll say, no, I can't. And I'm not being difficult. I just don't know how to say it. Now, I can say it like an idiot. Like, Slicha, Adani, Ima Shali Ratza Ladat, Miefu Ata Koneh et Amir Shelcha, Ulai B'midrachov Mashu. Right? I don't have the ability to say, hey, is that a Nike jacket you bought in Hong Kong at the store, the factory outlet? My mother would like to know because she knows a guy going there next week. Sorry, I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that. So therefore, by definition, am I moron man? By definition? The answer is yes. Right? He says it's this kind of coat and that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't know. I don't speak it. I don't know. But if somebody is fluent in Hebrew, right, they are empowered through understanding to find out anything. You understand? There's nothing that we cannot find out when we're fluent. This is called really what a rabbi is in knowing how to learn. This is where the gear material comes from. If you're fluent in Garese, then there's nothing that's going to be a challenge. Tonight, somebody posted a challenge that a particular type of random gear they're calling a convert presents such a challenge that it's going to bring down the entire gear message. What are the chances of that coming through as a successful attack? By the way, the person was Asher Meza. If that tells you anything. 0%. Right? Every time. Because that person's not coming from understanding, and where we are coming from is understanding. Everybody click on comprehension. I don't know what comprehension means. Any of you know what comprehension means? I have no idea. Brian, comprehension.
Simple definition. Ability to understand.
There you go. There you go. Now, is this looking good or what? Now we're talking. Ladies and gentlemen, are we talking now? Are we talking now? What is Solomon saying? You got to be on the level to be on the level. The ability to understand. How great is that? Give me 1 or 2 on that. The ability to understand. You get it or you don't. I've used this metaphor before. Am I just as good as Kobe Bryant in basketball? Why not? How do you know? You guys have never seen me play. You've never seen me shoot. How do you know? You have no idea. I do play. Me and Reuven play all the time. How do you know I'm not as good? How do you know? I do. Leave me alone. How do you know? Professional, schmomessional. How do you know? Forget wisdom. No, it does nothing to do with wisdom. Nothing. There's a very simple way of knowing. You ready? The big difference. Here's the difference. We've all had our little delusions of grandeur, right? We all want to be a football player or whatever, right? The reason why I cannot be a basketball player is because I am as stiff as a board. Right? I'm a stocky guy, and my wrist does not bend backwards to my forearm. You guys ever seen Kobe shoot? You know how his fingers almost touch his forearm backwards, 1 or 2? That's called ability. If you can't do that, you're basically not playing. I mean, if your body, I learned this with my wrestling stuff. Why was I not a great wrestler? My body simply said no. Right? When I cut weight, I was miserable for like the next month. You have to be able to bounce back within hours. Agreed? Whatever sport you're, boxing, when you get hit in the nose, you got to be able to take it and keep going. For me, I cried like a baby. And this is really true. Like in basketball, if you can't take the elbows in your face, you're done. If you say, ow, that really hurt, you're not good. It's that simple. In bowling, if you can't do the whole, leg going back, the swish motion, you're not good. If your body won't cooperate, you're not going to do it. There has to be an ability. You cop what I'm telling you? There must be ability. Right? I believe that converts are the essence of Torah, and I hate all human beings that are not converts. And I'm willing to die over this. What are the chances of me getting ger? And Eric Bryan will argue with me. Oh, well, wait a minute. You're going to be this and that. And I'm like, no, I think people are useless if they're not converts. 10 times out of 10, you will never get me to understand the truth. Correct? And I'm like, hey, I'm objective. Eric, you can talk to me. I'm with you. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I have shown an inability to reason, comprehend, grasp. I am now what's called a damager. 1 or 2. And then I'm going to bring all the sources on Eric about how converts are this and that, and you guys are distorting sources. It's a fake argument. It's an agenda. So it's Kishu, Witchcraft. Number one, does this person, whether it be you or whatever, show the prerequisite ability? You cop this. There must be ability to understand. I don't understand why I would ever have to change a tire. I call hotlines to come and get me on the side of the road. I would never even think of driving a car that doesn't have AAA. So I don't see why I would need to sit through 50 classes. 1 or 2. You know the thinking. Right? I want you to clean my floor. I don't clean anybody's floor. I don't know what you think I am. Right? Not happening. I want you to apologize and say you're sorry. I don't apologize to anybody. Okay, we see who you are. You follow? I don't talk to guys named Steve, ever. I'm against the name Steve. That's it. That's it. All right, how about this? Last night, we went out to dinner, and both headlights burned out. My mother thought that it was a fuse. I said, you don't know my muzzle. Only me, I would have a muzzle, but both headlights would burn out at the same time. We're driving at night on the road, and the headlights don't work. So we use the brights, right? We use the bright lights. I told her we got to use the brights. The fact is, if bright lights are not an option, and you have to have lights on at night, then how is that possible? The car was not able to be lit, right? The headlights were burned out. Therefore, the only option was a high beam. You understand? Right? And every car was like, they're flashing their bright lights at me. Yes, I understand. My brights are on in your face. I understand. It is a horrible thing. I don't have another option. Unable to understand. Keep going. And in the comprehension thread, Brian.
All right. Full definition. 1A. The act or action of grasping with intellect or with the intellect, i.e. understanding.
Oh, man, this is good stuff. How many of you guys heard me use the word chop? Did you chop it? What do you think Solomon's saying? He wants you to chop. Push it. There it is. There it is. It's like the biggest yeshivish word that exists. Did you chop? Chop. Grasp. In fact, how many of you guys that have heard my videos, I believe I usually translate chop as grasp with intellect. Am I mistaken here? If I remember correctly, I usually translate chop as grasp with intellect. That's how I translate it. Chop, grasp with the intellect. It's a Yiddish word. It's a Yiddish word. It's a non-word. It's a Shlomo word. So of understanding means chop. And that really is the essence of Mishlei. You got it. That's it. I get ger means you chop ger. Write that down. I get ger equals you chop ger. Everyone should know that ball pet by memorization. The Hebrew behind I get ger is I chop ger. In fact, you can even just say, you chop. Hey, ger is convert. What's the answer? Travis, why would you respond? Hey, ger is always convert. Go ahead, type it. No, tell me. You got to type it out. I'm telling you, hey, everybody, my name is blah, blah, blah. Ger's always convert. What's the response to me? You didn't hop. You don't hop. You don't hop. You don't hop. I hop. Someone that gets Ger, you say he hops. If you want to say the meaning is pshat, you say I hop pshat. I hop pshat. That's how you'd say it. I hop pshat means I know what it is. Me and Eric are going to argue over the spare tire. Remember that, Eric? Remember that? We argued over the spare tire, and I said, Eric, it's a 4/8. What did you say? So therefore, I would say, you're right. I didn't hop pshat. Eric would say, you're right. I hop pshat of himself. You didn't hop. I hop. This is how you sheepish guys talk. And I know it's a bit of a jargon, but this is really what, if we're going to turn this back into a Torah class, which we should, right? Solomon is saying, hop, get it, on every level imaginable. Blow your mind up and get it. I mean, that's really what learning Torah is, okay? That really is what learning Torah is. It's going into something cold turkey, embracing the fog, and as quick and powerful as possible, walking out with maximum understanding. You cop that? And that's why yeshiva guys are a bit socially awkward, because it's very awkward to get into wisdom. And I'm sure you guys have seen the Jewish humor along these lines, right? About the chimney story on Facebook, or just all these weird things like, I don't know. When you explore the wisdom in words, you break the rules to get the wisdom, right? You don't stay in the matrix to understand it. You have to go out of the matrix to get pshat, to get it understood. You got to be able to break in. You just jump in. You break the rules. You slice it and dice it until you get it. You just the rule of yeshivish learning is you just go until you get it. Take no prisoners. You just get it. But in the social world we live in, just getting it is socially awkward. Because otherwise you're going to say to Travis, what does O mean? The art of life, the tree of life, not tree of knowledge of good and evil, is learning the refinement of that wisdom. And that's what Solomon was also saying, right? That Microsoft agent, they copped it, didn't they? My file's not working. She copped it, right? One or two. I copped the problem. You're going into Google, and it's not Google. It's Microsoft. They copped. But she's not going to be like, if we go into Google and we find that she's doing something mamish wrong, so we're going to go into Microsoft. Tell me, are you over the age of 75? I got shot. You probably are not aware of there's a new age of technology. No, you don't do that. What you do is it's refined, and you got to be able to redeem the truth through derech eretz, grace and kindness and good traits, all these things. This is what we're saying, right? This is how class started. We know the end game. We know the beginning game. It's everything in between. Dialogue, right? You don't want to just bust out yeshivish on somebody, right? Somebody on a Microsoft thing, you don't say, did you do the ikka pshat? Did you do the other pshat? You can't do it. You can't do it. So you got to have the ability to speak, right? That was the first thing I ever did when I taught the Torah Shem. I can show you my notes where I wrote it. I saved it. I wrote in very big letters, speak English. Do not do it in yeshivish. Do not do it in jargon. Make sure it's clean and clear. Abraham is Abraham. Do not call it Avraham. To the point that Jewish people think that I'm not Jewish anymore. Because every Jew on the planet says Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. What do I do now? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's very confusing to Jews. In fact, the whole Ger message would probably be very easy to the Jews if I spoke Yeshivish. But then they see me talking to non-Jews as a non-Jew, and the Jews then think, is this guy even Jewish? It's strange, but this is really the test we have from here on out. Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I know it. That's it. I'm talking over your head. That's it. It's nuts. But that is a fractal of the problem. You understand? We're all going to go out to eat. And remember how we all went out to eat? 3 of us went out. And Marge was mad that the waiter brought Coke instead of Diet Coke. Remember that happened? Remember that? And Jim said, Marge, cut it out with the diet. You look fine. And she says, I can't believe this rude guy yelled at me like that in front of everybody. Isn't this life? Isn't this what we're dealing with? So the point for Jim and Marge has got to realize, relax, it's a restaurant, okay? You got to don't just burst out, you gave me diet, not Coke. And Jim's got to realize, don't kill the person because they freaked out and they got it wrong. Derech Eretz, refinement. This is the tree of life according to the Vilna Gaon. Yes, we know you wanted Coke. Yes, we know she shouldn't have yelled. Now, with that said, how do we all work together? I mean, when me and Travis go out and our friends, we're all refined because we're all the same person, right? And Travis is like, hey, do you like Coke? Yeah, I like Coke. Do you like Coke? Yeah, I like Coke too. Oh, hey, Travis, do you like oranges? I love oranges. Do you love oranges? Yes, we all love oranges. So no one's ever going to be out of line in our little clique, right? No, ever. And that's like the I Get Ger. The I Get Ger group, nobody fights. Why? Hey, Eric, do you believe in Ger? Yes, Rabbi Katz, I get Ger. Travis, do you get Ger? Yes, Rabbi Katz, I get Ger. Russell, do you get Ger? Yes, I get Ger. And it's good for the camaraderie. Friendship is not bad. Agreed? But what happens when your little friendship clique breaks down? I thought me and Travis were friends, which we are 90% of the time. We talk about football and coffee and cars, vroom, vroom, Travis, vroom. And we have fun. And we even mock people beneath us. Yes, we do. And then one time, I looked at Travis and I said, what kind of shirt is that? And he said, that's my favorite shirt. Oh. That was a joke. No, it's not a joke. And you always make jokes about me. Oh. Well, Travis, how you doing? Now what are we going to do? This is like the case of old Brian Stanek putting the cup not on the coaster when he came to videotape my class, Brian. Remember? So what happens now? Now what? Man, I thought we were good. I thought we had plans, man. I thought we were going places, Travis. Now you're saying I'm a jerk and I'm always insulting people and I'm always making fun of the people. But wow, hello. Now I got to rethink my life. Where'd that go? Well, I guess I got to say goodbye. How are we going to repair this? I didn't know. So now the question is, how do we repair this? How are we going to repair that? First of all, why was I making fun of his shirt? Why did he flip out so bad? How are we going to repair this? Is it worth writing him off? Maybe he is evil. He might be evil incarnate for wearing that shirt. Maybe I'm evil incarnate. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Is there even a God? Oh, man, I can't be questioning the whole creator of the universe. Fog. Seriously dense fog. Now, I'm sure Travis had given me many social cues since he's so upset that I probably made fun of his shoes, then his pants, then his shirt. And eventually he's like, I can't deal with it. I just can't deal with it. But if I would have not been moron man, I would have realized the social cue, and I don't understand what he's saying. When I'm like, hey, Travis, those pants again? He was like, yes, they were on sale. They're actually very nice pants. Thank you. I should be like, hey, all right. Well, I actually kind of secretly like those. I'm actually insecure about myself. Where did you get those? I actually want to be sensitive and vulnerable and talk about this. Let's talk, Travis. Where did you get those pants? I'm really impressed. Really, I want to give up the ego and really break down my walls. But no, you want to argue and make fun of people. So this is really what it's about. Vilna says the repair of your character traits is everything. Travis knows, okay, I'm a good human. I know, Travis, good human. Right? At the end of the day, if we had to bet our world to come on it, could we see eye to eye in the pants? Probably, yeah. Okay, now, is it easier to say, get lost, Travis? Yeah, okay, I could say he didn't understand me. Travis had to go, right? But isn't there a whole lot of area in the middle that we can learn how to work out? Right? Couldn't I have learned how to get the social cues a little better? Couldn't I have been the master of understanding that this is just a guy and he does what he does? And yeah, and view it as an opportunity. It is okay that Travis doesn't dress exactly as I do, and it's not a bad thing. It doesn't need to be contentious. I can understand why he chose that. And at the end of the day, he probably has reasons. Did you ever think he just came from work? Right? And this is his work clothes? Oh, Travis has a work. He actually works? Yeah, he's a person. He has a life. He's a human being. Lo and behold. Lo and behold. He didn't come to you when, ready to impress the show. Right? Why would you invite your friend Travis over? Maybe because he just got off work. Did you ever think about that? Why was she flipping out about the Coke? Maybe she has diabetes. Did you ever think about that? And she doesn't want to go back to the hospital again. Did you ever think about it? Right? This is where you have the whole judge people with merit, reframe the situation. Yeah, and that takes wisdom to do it. If I've never heard of diabetes, how am I supposed to have compassion for Marge? Impossible. I'm not going to. She's a complainer, and she's rude, and she's an outburst in public. Maybe you're ignorant and you don't understand things, and you should be compassionate to people's being. The point is, the more wisdom and understanding you have, the less you're going to react on clothes and pants and Coke and restaurants and waiters and understandings. Your job is to know wisdom. All of it. In the words. Because people don't have the time to craft their words perfect for you. Right? He never gives me the right Coke. What do you mean? Last week he gave it to you 20 times in a row and you never complained. Now you complain. It just came out that way. What do you have to grill me over the word never? You need to be more understanding to see where I'm coming from. Okay, and I have a responsibility to speak correctly. That's it. You can't not do it. Brian Stanek, let's go. C. Go ahead. No, I lied. No. Comprehending. I don't know what comprehending means. Let's go. No, wait. No. Sorry. We're in comprehension. Got it. Comprehending is 1 second. Knowledge gained. That's it. Knowledge gained by comprehending. Remember what comprehending is, right? It is a process. Somebody said it about an hour ago. Getting to know you. 1 or 2. We're getting to know each other. Your job is it worth it? Is it worth it? Right? I say, Travis, I really don't like you. I never want to like you ever. He now has a decision. Is it worth getting to know this guy who just insulted me? Is it worth it? Is there any merit in getting to know this guy, that I need to know? Justify my existence for him. Now, if I'm Travis's boss, and I'm giving him a good wage, and I say, Travis, I really don't like you. I have nobody else to work for me, blah, blah, blah. I'm a rude, abrasive boss. Now he's got a real decision, doesn't he? And we've all been in this position. He knows that I don't like him, and I'm manipulating him, exploiting him. He's compromised, he needs the money. What do? He comes home upset every day. The boss is not a nice guy, but the pay is good, and he has he's going to try to judge favorably. I think we can coexist. You know, I gave him a little shove, and he gave a little da-da-dee. There you go. That's it. This is called life. It is a tree of life, ladies and gentlemen. What do you do? What do you do? The answer is, if you don't know, you embrace the fog, and Travis already knew that. Then once you embrace the fog, you got to grow through the fog. You got to go from moron man, get the wisdom on ludicrous plaid speed, get caught up to speed, that you know what to do. The reason why you're suffering is because there's a job waiting for you, maybe, right, that you are too moron man to see. That's it. That's it. It's the hard truth. Did you know that you were the world's greatest whatever? Right? Did you know you were the greatest banker? You are the greatest. But you think that you're everything but that. And we're trying to tell you, Travis, did you ever think about working in a bank? No. Go away. I hate it. Leave me alone. Go away. But since it's Klippa, it's mundane, and we suffer from a lack of holy tongue, all right, and we have macho ego, I can't just tell you how I feel, Travis. What I would want to say is, go do this, do that, go work in a bank, because my soul knows what your soul knows that we both don't want to admit out in the open. So then I got a hint, like, hey, Travis, it's horrible about work. Did you ever pay me back that $5? Did you ever pay me back? Then he's like, go away. I paid you twice, and you stole from me. Now, I never even wanted to talk about the money. I know you pay me back. It's not even a question. But now you're yelling at me about a loan from 3 years ago. Now where'd this go? Just go away. I don't even talk to you. Travis, just get lost. I don't even talk to you. Now it's like an even bigger issue. Now we're both feeling guilty. How are we gonna repair this? You see the complexity in the speech and dialogue. Bean is everything. How do you cut to the chase if me and Travis just get on a good level of understanding? Then I just say, look, man, I know it's rough. Here's what it is. I really see your potential, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I don't know how. We work on it. We are comprehending. Capiche? Cop? 1 or 2. Comprehending. When someone's not comprehending, get them to start comprehending. Brian Stanek, let's go. 1C.
The capacity for understanding fully.
That's it.
Such as mysteries that are beyond our comprehension.
There you go. Is this not Gear 101? Is that not Gear 101? Oh, man, this is depressing. The capacity for people just cannot fully comprehend, and I'll put in brackets, right, as Eric Bryan, what Gear means in the big picture. Rabbi Katz, I think I'm a secret lost Jew. No, you're not. Maybe you are 1 out of a billion. The reason why you're not is you're not fully comprehending what Ger is. It's not second class. It's not second rate. It's not second anything. It's beyond your comprehension. I am. I'm starting to. I'm starting to comprehend that, Travis. Starting. Not easy. You guys see this? All of our misunderstandings are because you or we or us or them are not able to fully comprehend. And Shlomo's saying, I know that's the problem. I know that most people haven't seen all the sources of Ger. If you would have seen by now all the sources of Ger, we wouldn't have this problem. One person sees the big picture. How do you get everybody else to see the picture or acknowledge the picture? Brian Stanek, keep going. 2A.
The act or process of comprising.
I don't know what comprising means. How many of you think you know what comprising means? Let's find out. Brian, comprising.
To be made up of something. To include or consist of something.
Keep going.
To make up or form something.
Keep going.
Okay. Transitive verb 1. To include, especially within a particular scope. Civilization as Lenin. Use the term would then certainly have comprised the changes that are now associated in our minds with developed rather than developing states.
Keep going.
2. To be made up of a vast installation comprising 50 buildings.
Keep going.
And 3. Compose, constitute, such as a misconception as to what comprises a literary generation.
Go back in your browser quickly so we don't lose it. Now define 2A with comprising in mind. Go ahead.
The act or process of comprising.
Okay, that's it. So putting it together, right? Really, wow, that's deep. Is that deep or what? You guys like that? Is that good? You got that? That's pretty good stuff right there. So these people are alive. They're not dead. But they might not be the best at comprising. Especially with Ger, right? We see Rabbi Katz is putting sources up. It's out there, but we need help putting the sources together. Or as you guys say, connecting the dots. Sometimes we got to help people connect the dots. Agreed? Let's go. That's a good one, really. 2B. Let's go.
The faculty or capability of including, i.e., comprehensiveness.
Wow, what does that mean? The faculty or capability of Let's click on that word. I don't know that word. That could be a new word. Click on comprehensiveness. That's a good word. Go ahead.
Okay. Including many, most, or all things.
Keep going. Go through the whole thing.
Of or relating to a comprehensive school.
Wow. Keep going. This is really good. Keep going.
Full definition 1. Covering completely or broadly.
Yeah. Keep going. You guys feel this? You feeling it? Keep going.
Inclusive. Comprehensive examinations or comprehensive insurance. And number 2, having or exhibiting wide mental grasp.
How good is that?
Comprehensive.
Come on.
Knowledge.
Let me. How good is that? How good is that? Not only are you hopping, you are supremely hopping. That's it. Getting Ger. I now get why people don't get Ger. Man, you gotta have serious what's the word again? Comprehensiveness to get Ger. Is that right? You guys agree with this? Serious comprehensiveness. Wow. I guess I kind of underestimated this thing. Yeah. Wow. All right. So go back in the browser. Click on connotation. We don't know what connotation means. Go ahead. Connotation.
Connotation. An idea or quality that a word makes you think about in addition to its meaning.
Well, I don't know what that means. Read it again slow. Go ahead. You there?
All right.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
An idea or quality that a word makes you think about in addition to its meaning.
I still don't know what it means. Let me break this down. An idea or quality that a word makes you think about in addition to its meaning. In Hebrew, it's called mashma'ut. Yeah, implied. Not implied. Implied means, Brian, can I get you a coaster for your glass of water? I'm implying that you're rude for putting your cup on my table. Mashma'ut means an idea or quality that a word makes you think about in addition to its meaning. Table. Everybody think of the word table. Table. Table has a meaning, correct? The table, the table stood very tall in the room, didn't it? It has a connotation. It's a bad example, but it's the mashmut, the peripheral. So connotation. Brian, keep going in the full definition of connotation.
1A, the suggesting of a meaning by a word, apart from the thing it explicitly names or describes.
Wow. This is hard. Keep going.
B, something suggested by a word or thing.
That's good. Suggestion. Suggestion. Okay, Travis just insulted me. Get that guy out of here. Get that guy out of here. So literally, get that guy, male figure, right? Out of here. What does guy mean? I said, get that guy out of here. Derogatory, right? It's just some guy. Ugh, just some guy. Right? I didn't say, will you please remove the distinguished gentleman from our midst for having blah, 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 blah. Right? Get that guy out of here. So guy has a connotation. Bad connotation. It's just, yeah. Okay. Go back in your browser. Why are they telling us connotation? What is that? Hold on a second. Why would they do that? Okay, yeah. So I was in a class where they said, get that guy out of here. Remember that? Remember we were there? When the guy said, get that guy out of here. Anybody that doesn't have satisfactory comprehension will not understand what happened. If you understand the words, the thing, that, everything you comprehend, you get it. You'd say, well, I guess somebody pushed the wrong button. Now, what if I said this? Get that kid out of here. Because you technically have said, get that guy out of here? Based on slang idiom, correct? Right? Yeah. A kid is a guy in slang terms, correct? Yes, one. So get that kid out of here. Get that guy out of here. Get that baby out of here. Get that crying baby out of here. Get that whatever out of here. Technically, they could all be the same. The connotation from comprehension makes all the difference. Okay. That's comprehension. Now go back in your browser again. Comprehension is the definition of mental grasp. That was only one sliver of understanding. Run a little late on time here. Let's do one more just to see where we go. We might have to stop. Brian, 2A, please.
Understanding 2A. The power of comprehending, especially the capacity to apprehend general relations of particulars.
What does that mean? So under the power of comprehend. Wow, do you like that word power? Look at that word. That's a great word. The power of. Right? We all have faculties, powers. He is a gift of charm. He is such a great musician with perfect pitch. This person has power of comprehending. I didn't know it was a power. Did you guys know it was a power? I didn't know it was a power. Now that's a surprise. Did we get our Kiddush here? I think we so far got our Kiddush. The power of comprehending. Especially, right? Especially, it's, what makes Stephen Curry great in basketball? Right? He especially hits the three-point shot. What made Michael Jordan great? He especially could dunk from the half-court line, right? What made Hank Aaron great? He especially could hit a home run. That is a power. What makes, I don't know. What made Steve Jobs great? The power to innovate. I didn't know this was a power. Especially power. There are people who are comprehenders. You get this? There are people who are comprehenders, understanders, navonim in Hebrew, the navon. To know wisdom and instruction, to discern the words of understanding, to discern the words of understanding. So now we know it. Now we know it. That's it. What is this thing called of understanding? It's a power. It's a power. Keep going, Brian.
To be, again, the power to make experience intelligible by applying concepts and categories.
This is a little nerve-wracking, guys. What do you think about this? Is pretty nuts. This is a strong power. You guys feeling it? This is a strong power. This is not something small. The power to make experience intelligible by applying that means you're actually changing the tire. Whatever it is you're doing it. Now, as much as your power you invest in, that's how powerful or amazing you will be. So, is there really anything stopping you? We can learn from all powers. We can learn from this. If Stephen Curry can make a three-point shot as a power in his wrist, right? He has something called wrist power. Michael Jordan had Nike Air Jordan power. Steve Jobs had iPad power. Whatever it is. Marge has knitting a sweater power. Whatever it is. Everybody in this room, do you have a power? One or two. A power. By definition, yes. You might not know what it is. Then, when you can make the experience intelligible by applying concepts and categories, you become a very powerful person. That's what Mike in the Texan Kabbalah calls Metatronic. Is becoming powerful that we're talking about now. Right? Stephen Curry is a powerful dude. Is he not? When you watch this guy this year, for those of you who don't know, he makes it like every time from everywhere, upside down, backwards, and forwards. What this on that thing, he's Metatronic. Now again, you want it to be in holiness, the most you can. Keep going, Brian. We're gonna finish this out today. Keep going.
Okay, full definition of understanding 3A. A friendly or harmonious relationship.
Okay. I'm gonna throw you a curveball. A real curveball. The reason why I was a horrible wrestler was because I was not friendly on the mat. Meaning the guys that are the best at what they do, you gotta be comfortable. When I Mesa threw oh, you're learning gear wrong. Do you guys realize how comfortable I am now in gear sources? It's really not a challenge. It's my backyard, right? I look forward to it. And all of you have that skill, right? Where everybody else would see it like, oh, man, this is a daunting thing. But for you, you're friendly. You're just friendly there. I was an enemy to wrestling. That's the real story. I fought it. I was an enemy to it. But the guys are the best. They're friends with it. You could tell them, hey, your single leg was horrible. He'd say, oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, I know. I got to work on that. You bring me a new source of gear. I'm saying, thanks. That's awesome. I didn't know that one. Let me check it out. But if you're not secure, like, oh, no, it's falling apart. Brian, keep going.
3B, an agreement of opinion or feeling.
Did you see the word of in there? An agreement of opinion. Of opinion. So I'm guessing we probably have a very high opinion, don't we? Brian, you like Michael Jordan? Isn't he great? Yeah. Wow. So we have the same opinion. Yeah, he's the best. I know. Now, would you guys say me and Brian have an opinion? Or would we actually be willing to defend our opinion as if it's Divrei Elohim Chaim over here? What do you guys think? How seriously are me and Brian bonding here? We're bonding pretty hardcore. It's Metatronic. I now know if I were to go to Michigan right now, if we were to turn on YouTube, we would probably just it'd be nuts, right? We would just be watching it and elated. It would become Metatronic. So it's not. You want to hear? Watch this. This is good. You want to know what kind of understanding you have to have? You want the word? I now know the word. Ready for the word? Acute. Acute. Right? Sharp. You all know when you're sick, right? There's a big difference between having a cold and the flu in there. It's a whole different category. Everyone knows the category. I'm okay at basketball, but I'm no Kobe Bryant because he's acute. Travis will tell you it's putting the craftsman head on the beer. If that beer doesn't have a head, it ain't beer. It's that simple. If it's not craftsmanship, it's not anything. That just means it's not your power. Now, I probably could get a recipe from YouTube about how to make beer. I guarantee you it will not be a real acute beer. But if you want to learn the Rashba on gear, it will be acute. No worries. Brian, keep going.
3C, a mutual agreement not formally entered into, but in some degree binding on each side.
Brian, can I quote you wherever I go the rest of my life that we see eye to eye on Michael Jordan? Now, just like Travis said, oh, okay. Do I need to scrutinize you, Brian? Like, okay, Brian, in the future, if I quote you as being a Michael Jordan advocate? Do I have permission to say in your name that you are and we, me and you, or you and me, no precedent? We mutually agree under these terms that we appreciate that Michael Jordan was supremely great. Do you agree? Can you sign that? And I'll carry it? Okay. Don't need to ask. Right? Because the bonding, we bonded on a level you don't need to ask. And I think now it's becoming very clear to you guys what's going on. Am I right? You don't need to ask. And you know what? I really need help with something. I'm gonna ask you guys now for help. Ready? I want help here. Because this is something I fight with all the time. Me and Chaim fight this daily. Ready? You ready? This could be a magical moment. You never know. Is Ger already on the level of you don't need to ask? What do you guys think? Have I done? Am I done proving it? to those that know, to those that don't have the agenda, right? To those that are not saying I hate all people not named Steve, right? Is it on the level you don't need to ask? I'm honestly asking. I really don't know. I'm going until it's submission point. Yeah, it's a fact. Good. All right, so that's good. So I've brought enough sources to last a lifetime. You're saying we can move on from the Rashba. Oh, yeah. That is it. That's true. Brian, you're absolutely right. Keep going. Speaking of Brian, 4. In fact, before you read, I don't know what an explanation means, so click on explanation. And read the whole thing through for time, and I think we're getting it. So go ahead. Explanation.
Okay, the act or process of making something clear or easy to understand. The act or process of telling, showing, or being the reason for or cause of something. Something such as a statement or fact that explains something. Okay, full definition 1, the act or process of explaining. Number 2, something that explains.
Well, there's why people don't get Ger. Wow, you guys get this? You don't explain Ger. Ger is always being explained. Or it's not explain Ger. Here. No explain Ger. Explaining Ger is what is. That's what it is. Ger is explaining. They say, okay, I'm done. Just explain it. There's no such thing as explain it. Either you let me do the explaining or you're not getting it. You can't. There's no explain. That should be a meme. Someone please write to Russell this idea, right? You don't explain. You can't explain Ger. It's explaining Ger. This concept needs to be told to Russell ASAP. This is important. You don't explain. You can't explain Ger. Ger is always being. How you say it? Ger needs explaining. You cannot explain Ger. That's the quote. How do I say it again? How do I say it? Ger needs explaining. You can't explain Ger. Go back on explanation. Brian, click interpretation. Everyone click interpretation. Wait, hold on one second. My computer's, it's working on it. Hold on a second here. I don't know why it's stuck. There it goes. Okay, go ahead. Interpretation. Go ahead.
Interpretation. The act or result of explaining or interpreting something. The way something is explained or understood.
Wow, that's weird. I don't know what that means. Hold on. The act or result of explaining or interpreting something. This is the thing. This is what people complain about. They don't like how Gear's explained. They don't like the methods in teaching Gear. So what does that mean then? The way you're explaining, that's what they say. The way you're explaining it, they don't like. The act or result of explaining in terms, the way something is explained. Keep going, Brian.
A particular way of performing something.
This is good news. All right, keep going.
Full definition 1. The act or the result of interpreting.
Wow.
Explanation. Number 2. A particular adaptation or version of a work, method, or style.
Wow, this is it, man. This is the methods. Wow. Keep going. One last. Keep going.
3. A teaching technique that combines factual with stimulating explanatory information, natural history interpretation program.
Okay. Interpretation. Go back in your browser. Understanding. Wow, this is wild, isn't it? Understanding brings interpretation. Therefore, if you can interpret, it means you understand. In a method. Therefore, I'm guessing those that don't like the methods are not, what do we say? Don't have the ability to comprehend. So really, now, Brian, I'm going to really challenge you here, all right? I'm going to really challenge you. Who's better, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or Tim Duncan? You know the answer? They're all the same. There's no one's better. Because they're all interpreting the game of basketball. Each one has his own style. We have to say each understands the game. Right? We're talking from a non-biased point of view. No, stop being biased. This has got to be objective truth. Right? You like basketball played Jordan style. That's just you. Right? And you have the right to pick your teacher. No one can tell you you don't have the right to pick your teacher. But if we're going to say, do they all comprehend the game? Would you trust your kid in their summer camp? Therefore, they all have methods of how they display the understanding. This is what makes wrestling possible, by the way. You don't need the greatest coach in the world. You just need one that cops. You get this? This is important. Otherwise, you're going to say, woe is me. I never had Phil Jackson as my coach. As long as they understand and they have interpretation, you can rely on the wisdom, 1 or 2. Maybe the guy's wrist didn't bend like Kobe's, right? Tim Duncan couldn't fly like Mike. But they have the same, when they talk basketball, I'm positive Michael Jordan doesn't say, Timmy D, you're quite the moron, man, right? Because I'm better than you. Agreed? He's not going to say he doesn't understand basketball. He's going to say, you don't know how to guard me. That's already a different level. He's not going to say, you just don't get it. Which is also apropos to the Gear world. right? It's pretty hard to say that, Gare is wrong because, you clearly are not on the level to understand Gare. It's clearly a convert. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That would be like Michael Jordan saying, Charles Barkley, you are clearly not a valid basketball player because you never won a championship. You know nothing about basketball. I happen to think you're playing checkers. I don't think you're actually a basketball player. You're a closet checker player. It's impossible. You have to. If there's interpretation, there's a level of comprehension. All right, but you don't have to agree with partake in one method. That's it. The best coaches are the bench guys. Phil Jackson was a bench guy. I mean, in my own little wrestling thing, I now know I would be a great wrestling coach. I know that. And that in a parallel universe, that's what I would do. I wasn't the guy whose wrist bent that far back. So it comes down to, if a person is teaching, that means they understand it. If you have the guts to teach, it means you understand it. And as you said, everybody always has to refine the guts to the equation. Always needs refine. Michael Jordan never stopped practicing, and he got better every year. Every year. See, Eric. Every year he got better. Grace comes with, what I say, that however that thing goes. One last one. Brian, let's go. Click on sympathy.
Sympathy.
Read all the way through. It's a big one. Read through.
Sympathy, the feeling that you care about and are sorry about someone else's trouble, grief, misfortune, etc.
That's crazy.
Sympathetic feeling.
Wow.
A feeling of support for something. Last definition. A state in which different people share the same interests, opinions, goals, etc.
All right, you can stop, but we know what sympathy is. So this is good. Brandon Travis, you're right. That's it. Travis Armstrong nailed it. That's it. Done. That's Bina in a nutshell. Ima, Yavin, understanding. The fact is, if you call my Microsoft hotline and you don't know what's going on, if I love my job, don't I just kind of know what the problem is, and I'm sympathetic? Oh, don't worry about it. You just clicked on the Chrome browser. It's all right. Go ahead and click on the right one. Right? But if I hate my job and why am I here and Microsoft is horrible, then you're not there. You don't understand it. You don't even understand why you have that job. So how can you understand anybody else's problems? If you don't get, here's my new definition. If you don't get gear, it means you don't get gear. You're not sympathetic for what's going on. It means you don't get it. You don't get it. If you're sympathetic for gear, there's no such thing as a false sympathy. There's no such thing. If this is some kind of like covert, idolatrous movement, right? A bunch of idolaters now. And I'm like, yeah, I feel bad for old Travis. Hey, he's trying to put idolatry on me. I feel bad for him. What can you do? That's fake. It's not a thing. If you honestly feel compassion, there are people that want God. They want the mitzvahs. They want Torah. And I say, hey, I see that. That's a compassionate cause. Then you have understanding. If you're saying, Eric, or Eric's not here. Travis, be a Noahide. That's all you can do. Go away or convert. No compassion. That means I don't understand it. I understand it very well. I know the sources very well. Well, then why don't you understand Travis's compassion? He's passionate and compassionate about it. You're not. Are you saying he feels false for what he feels? He should not feel a love for God, is what you're saying. Yes, he should not feel love for God. Okay. Travis, you are not allowed to feel love for God. You are to stop that and do 7 laws and only if you feel a compassion coming, you must convert, move to Brooklyn, leave everything behind, and then we'll talk. All the while, I'm not saying it with any compassion. The whole story breaks down. It just breaks down. I'm telling him to go into more fog, and he's going to be like, hey, I understood it yesterday as a ger, but I don't really understand what you're saying now. So I'm not so compassionate yet, maybe. See you, Brian. And at the end of the day, compassion is the real truth. And why? How can you rely on female understanding for the men out there? How can you rely on a woman when she truths her husband? Because she is built as a woman, Bina, Ima, the Partsuf, and Kabbalah to be compassionate and understanding. You, the male, are not built to be compassionate. You are a moron man. Your job is to become compassionate. She's lacking things too, whatever it may be. Whatever inherently comes from wisdom, she doesn't have. It's why she needs you. But the moral of the story is, if it's coming from compassion, there you go. He has to stand. And probably if he would become compassionate, he would be a very strong guy in the realm of compassion and truth. He's this guy to stop being moron man. And that's what King Solomon's saying. To know wisdom and instruction, to discern the words of understanding. He's describing the female. And if you don't type 1, then there's a serious problem here. So that's it. He's asking what every man is trying to say. I'm a moron. I would love to stop being a moron. How do I get female guts in my brain? That's what he's saying. And how can we give that articulation of strength to the women? As Travis said, to save the woman. If that's not Song of Songs, what comes out of Solomon's Proverbs, and what is the underlying premise of King David, and King David got it. He was the one guy in history that got it. Why is it called Mashiach ben David? That's why. King David was the one guy who probably couldn't articulate it in mundane language, but as far as Lashon HaKodesh in Hebrew, David found compassion. The man who was after the heart of God. The end.